Do you know where the concept of a teenager was born? So, it was born in the US in the 1950s. Do you know the historical context of the things that were happening in the world at that moment? So, in the US, right after World War II, they had a lot of money. And they had like a lot of money. And the reason why they had a lot of money is because they were lending a lot of money to the countries in Europe after the destruction of all the countries in World War II. So in the US, because they had so much money, this is just my hypothesis, but that's just the way it is in my opinion, man. They had so much money that they needed to find ways to sell more. And then they came up with the concept of a teenager. They had so much money to spend and so much money to spare in the US that they literally, they literally invented like a whole new segment to sell things to attack with all kinds of marketing strategies. They created teenagers, bro. And all of this was happening during the cradle and the epitome of capitalism. I don't know if I said that word correctly. I don't know if whatever, man. The epitome of capitalism. Do you know what this means, bro? The concept of a teenager was born for consumerists. It was born to make people consume more, especially the people in that age segment, teenagers. So having that in mind, having the fact that the concept of a teenager was born only to make more money to all of those company owners and CEOs. It was born for that. It was born to make you consume. Try to connect that to the concept of a teenager today and the things that they are telling you to do with your free time as a teenager. And what you're supposed to do to enjoy your youth as a teenager. Think about it for a second, man. Like back in the day in the 1950s, they were telling like teenagers to just enjoy their youth, man. But what were the things that they were promoting and that they were telling the teenagers to enjoy their youth doing? They were all things related to consumerist culture, man. They were just telling them to consume things, man. Going to the movies, going on parties every weekend where they spend money not only on clothes, man, the clothes that they're going to use for the parties, but also on alcohol and all kinds of drugs. They were telling teenagers to play video games because that's just normal. And you got to buy video games. And now if you think about it in today's society, they tell teenagers that it's normal to be on Instagram, to be on TikTok, to be on Facebook, on Pornhub, watching porn and masturbating and doing all of those things that are so bad for you, but that have been promoted for almost 100 years now. What do you think that those things are? The things or the way in which they make money through Instagram and social media and all that kind of stuff, and you probably know this already, but they make money through ads. So they show you ads whenever you are on Instagram or TikTok or Pornhub. So all of those things are you consuming and that are considered normal as a teenager are things that are related to you consuming something or to you being more likely to consume something in the future through ads. And to all of those guys that told me that like, oh yeah, going to parties and all that kind of stuff, it's normal as a teenager. Like, you're right about that, but you're not right about being on Instagram and all that kind of stuff as a teenager and watching porn. And that, after modern standards, is not considered enjoying your youth. Like, that's a fair point, but at the same time, I really disagree with that. Like, for example, I remember that almost 2 years now, I think that a year and a half or something like that ago, I went to therapy. And the reason why I went to therapy is because I really, really wanted to stop watching porn. I wanted to stop masturbating. And you know what my psychologist told me when I told him that I didn't want to keep doing that? He told me that it was normal. Do you see what I'm talking about now? He told me that it was normal to masturbate, to fab watching a man take another woman and a screen when you're not even being part of it. That it was normal. That's what he told me. The world is so fucked up right now that even a psychologist is gonna tell you that. So all of those things are considered normal. And they are considered just part of being young. Part of just enjoying your youth, man. Haha. Just go and go drink every weekend, bro. It's normal. All of those things are considered normal, bro. Do you realize that? And yet, you still can't overcome all of those addictions that you have, man. How does that make you feel? Now that you know that all of those things are just marketing strategies and that they're not even good for you in the first place. Because they are not, man, and you probably already know that. I don't have to tell you that. You probably are like no fap and you watch all of those kind of videos telling you how in day 90 you're gonna levitate. Day 90 of no fap you're gonna levitate and all that kind of stuff, man. But like, you really are part of this. But what I'm here to tell you is not just to demonize you for doing those things or to ridicule you for doing those things, because I'm not gonna do that. And the reason why I'm not gonna do that is because I was in the same place just 2 years ago before I found self-improvement. I was there, man, 2 years ago. And it was so embarrassing. It is even embarrassing to tell you this right now, man. Do you know what my worst habit was? And the habit that took me the most to get rid of? And it's probably the same for you, man. It was fapping. It was watching porn. And for everyone, it is like at different times. For a lot of people, it is like right before bed, right? Right after waking up and all that kind of stuff. For me, it was every single time I got home, like I arrived home after work or school or university or whatever, I had to fap. And bro, that was just for years. For years I did that. And every single time I had to study, guess what I did, man? I fapped instead of studying. Yeah, that's what I did if you were wondering what is it that I did. You know, I was one of those weird guys that just... And this is really embarrassing, man. I'm not even lying about this. You might be thinking that I'm just saying this for the video, but I don't know if you can see it, but I'm really embarrassed about this. But I was one of those guys that played porn games. Yeah, man, it is so fucking embarrassing. I also used to just be one of those guys that watches cam girls. You know, the ones that like Andrew Tate controls and all that kind of shit, man. Yeah, I used to watch all those all the time, man. Especially when I had to study. Like, I really created that habit. So what